It's Monday evening and it's time for the TNC podcast. A warm welcome back, everyone. Jack Reeve and Chris Reeve joining you this evening after somewhat of a dismal display on Saturday. We're going to be discussing all things Norwich City, the Watford game, what goes on next, a look ahead to Liverpool and Everton this week, and of course, answering all of your lovely questions that will be coming in throughout this evening. Welcome back. This is Talk Norwich City. Chris, have you cheered up?
Have I cheered up? Have you cheered up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man.
I have found it difficult. I was flat as hell after the game, and Sunday as well. I'm really trying to not look at analysis and things like that. But I wanted to understand, like, how the hell did it go as wrong as it did? So yeah, I'd be lying to say, yeah, I'm cheery. I'm optimistic and buzzing for the next game, because at the moment I'm still in a place of, oh God, and I'm sure we'll get onto it, Jack. So just so many things, in my opinion, went wrong in one game. It injected me with a massive dosage of worry. And as, in my opinion, a more positive and optimistic supporter, I almost worried myself. I got home and I was like, what am I? What am I doing? How am I in this mood? And I just think so much was pinned on that one game. It was a real hammer blow to my mood. I don't know about you, Jack, and I certainly know for a lot of the Norwich fans as well. It boiled over in the stadium, and I'm sure everyone would agree that social media was pretty toxic on Saturday night and Sunday. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
I think you made a really interesting point there about pinning all of our hopes on Watford. I think most Norwich fans had that fear, but maybe didn't communicate it. And it wasn't an excuse, because it was a valid reason, where you look at the first four games and you're like, well, if we don't pick up anything, that's fine, because we're not really expected to. But you then look at the fifth game, which was of course Watford, and suddenly there's heaps of pressure. One, because Watford have already got points on the board, so there's not as much pressure for them. But equally, like, it's still not an easy game against Watford. They're a good side, and you do look at the start to the season and you're like, the priorities feel like they've been misplaced. It feels like we've been a bit complacent with our approach to certain games. Leicester felt like a game that we should have got something from. Arsenal felt like a game we should have got something from going into it.
That's the thing.
And then we have to go into a game against Watford where there shouldn't be that much pressure on it. If we lose, it shouldn't be as detrimental as it has been.
That the thing, and you've reminded myself of the pain, because I've publicly said before, Leicester was our first shoulder. They were there for the taking, and I'm not taking people saying, it could have been a draw. A draw. We could have won that comfortably. We had the chances. We had the possession. We had the chances on goal. I genuinely think that, and Daniel Farke's tactics, in my opinion, for that Leicester game were great. I thought the balance was really good, and we got it right. And the subs came earlier, and everything went well. We got unlucky, of course, with the VAR, but you can't blame that. We should have taken our chances. But the thing that concerned me, having zoomed out on the Watford game yesterday, Jack, is that I personally think that we've regressed since the Arsenal performance. And I looked at the Arsenal performance and I went, okay, that's fair enough. A few tweaks here and there. It's away. It's at the Emirates. It's still a big game. Maybe a false illusion of the table. Really, Arsenal shouldn't be where they are. They've still got world-class players playing for them, obviously massively underperforming, but they've still got world-class players there. Aubameyang, Pepe for God knows how much money. Ben White, they spent the most money in the Premier League. So it was a big ask. I know we didn't get, I think it was only one shot on target away at the Emirates, but we defended on the whole well, I think. Obviously, we made a bit of a sloppy mistake. I think it's through Hanley for Arsenal's goal. But I personally just feel like we regressed. And that's the worry for me, Jack, is that it's not just that Watford performance in isolation. Daniel Farke in his press says today It was one bad game. You know, we've basically only had one bad game because it was Watford. But for me, should have beaten Leicester and could have and should have got a draw against Arsenal. Really, I know we got a little bit unlucky with Arsenal's goal, but we can't be blaming that. Like, we put the thing that, and I'm sure we'll go into this deeper, Jack, but the key thing about that Watford game, and I broke it down in a Twitter thread yesterday, was you can't excuse the lack of pressure. Like, there was periods where we were really putting them under pressure, and they made mistakes. And they
Watford or Arsenal?
Yeah, no, Watford, and they made mistakes. You know, they gave the ball away, and they were who everyone was saying they were, which was a team that was really in a bit of a lull. And as soon as we took the foot off the gas, or the system didn't complement, and I just felt like we just didn't do the basics against Watford, which is a massive, massive worry in terms of psychology.
Yeah, great to see Thomas in the comments donating a chunk towards Matthias Norman's wages by the looks of things, 100 Norwegian kroner. Thank you so much, Thomas. Good Lord, lads, I've missed the watch-alongs. Where do we go from here? What are your honest assessments? Personally, I've never felt as down as I did this weekend. Well, Thomas, you're in the right place. We're going to use the next sort of 50 minutes or so as a bit of therapy for us all to chat things through. Where did it go wrong? And how do we, more importantly, get things back on the right road? Thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Don't forget, Jack, that Thomas is the man that's promised to get an "I love that from you" tattoo of Norwich City survive, and he's donating £200 to Norwich City CSF as well. I'll be matching that with a donation to our official charity partner of the season, Big C. Look, people won't like me saying this, but and I made you change the title before we went on. You know, I do think perspective is important. People hate me saying this, and I'll get criticised for it, but I don't care. It'll never be as bad as losing 7-1 at home to Colchester in League One. It will never be that bad. So for me, we have to look at this as we need to try and be a little bit careful and don't be so doom and gloom. There is the opportunity to go to Goodison Park and get our season up and running. So long as the system that we play is the right one. Daniel Farke sets up the team and counteracts Rafa Benitez's tactics to perfection, and the basics and the psychology from the boys is all right. We can't be putting our heads down after going a goal down. That stat, Jack, which we all know, isn't it? It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible stat, and it's poison that we've got to get out of our system. We've got to find a way. And if that means that we need to start to become a bit of a shithouse side, then do it, because we can't keep doing that. It's so poor.
I saw that, and I assume the stat you're referring to is the fact that Norwich City, in the last 30 times Norwich City have gone behind in the Premier League, they haven't picked up a single point from their games. And I was looking at that stat amongst the other multitude of just damning statistics after Saturday's game. And I was like, why is it that we just can't come back from going behind? And I think I've come to the bottom of it. And I don't think it's an answer I wanted to come to. You know, I sit next to you in the Barclay, as I have done for the past, ever since Daniel Farke has been in charge of Norwich City. And you've always had one criticism for Farke, and I've never fully been on board with it. It's his substitutions. Now, I've usually been able to come up with maybe a reasoning or an excuse or something to justify the manner in which Daniel Farke goes about substitutions. And I think he gets away with it in the Championship because often, one, we've got better players than the opposition, and two, the opposition isn't as good as us. And over the course of the season, he can get away with it. Daniel Farke's in-game management for the Premier League at this present time simply isn't good enough. And we are seeing that with the statistics. And I think it's one of the reasons why the stat that we've now lost 15 straight Premier League games is relevant. Now, I get people saying, well, you can't use that stat because it's over the course of 2 separate seasons and lots of change. I get that. But there are similarities between the 2 seasons. Same head coach, same backroom staff, similar players, and sadly that same stat where when Norwich City go behind, and we will do a lot this season, we do not get points. Not 1 point, not 3 points. And that is the sign of a team that will be relegated. Teams that stay up get points against Leicester, maybe not Arsenal, and get a point against Watford. At 1-1, Norwich City are in that game. 2-1, Norwich City could still be in that game if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And yet they continuously and repeatedly throw away positions where they could pick up points. Now, I like Daniel Farke. I think he's the right man for the job, but we can't be putting him in an elevated position because of what he's done. There are clear weaknesses in this man's portfolio, as there are across the board. There is not a single manager in the Premier League that doesn't have a weakness. And I think the weakness is now being really highlighted with Daniel Farke, that he has a complete inability at this present moment to change in-game scenarios the way he would like. You only have to look back at this weekend's opposition in Everton. They're a perfect example. Now, not everyone's a massive fan of Rafa Benitez, but in their game, what was it, last week, the week before, they were 1-0 down. He brings on substitutions early. They go on and win the game 3-1. I just don't think Farke's at that Premier League level yet. And I think with a little bit of work there, he is a Premier League manager. At the moment, he has continually failed at the highest level.
I disagree with a lot of that. I agree with some parts as well. First of all, I want to talk about that data set of looking at the 2 Premier League seasons under Daniel Farke. I'm not sure that's fair. And actually, we talk about, you spoke about, Daniel Farke's lack of respect, quote unquote, towards the fans with his comments. But actually, I will reciprocate some respect to Daniel Farke and say, I think it's unfair to look upon that Premier League season first time and add that and accumulate it onto this one.
But why?
Because Jack, we spent bugger all, and that's not Daniel's fault. And I mean this with every bone in my body. That first season, I know there were things he did wrong, but that season you can say inexperience, new manager, fair enough. He then comes down to the Championship and he wins the league with a records point total. Now, I know people will be screaming at the screen right now. They'll say, Chris, it doesn't matter. That's history. It's done. But my point is, I just want to really, and I kind of agree with that. So I'm contradicting myself. But what I want to make clear is that looking at that first Premier League season and adding it onto this one, I think is nonsensical because of the amount of money we spent. And also, everyone knows the recruitment last time in the Premier League was absolutely woeful. And people know that. And Jack, what I need to say as well, which might surprise you, is I know that I've always said Daniel Farke doesn't bring on his subs early enough. I actually think this season he has brought his subs on early enough, which I've been really happy with. We've got, in my opinion, Premier League quality to bring off the bench now. I'm really happy with that. But for me, the starting 11s and the system that we're playing has been wrong. So it's actually almost like the other way around this time. And one of the things, I know this is a bit of a monologue, so forgive me, Jack. And I'm sure we'll talk about, criticism and being in bed with the club and negativity and all of that in a minute. I want to be really, really clear here. And I really don't want people to mix my words. I am Daniel Farke's biggest fan. He is the most successful head coach in my whole life that I've supported Norwich. I've supported them through some dross times. He's played.
Are we going off statistics there, or are we going off emotion?
For Daniel Farke, stats.
Well, Paul Lambert will be the main man there.
Why?
2 promotions kept us in the Premier League. Higher win rate.
But not the records point total in the Premier League.
No, but in the Premier League, he'd have a higher points total.
Okay, look, I'll face up to this one, Jack. I think you've got me there. But the only reason why you've got me is that Lambert went to the scum, right? And I think that's why you can't give it to Paul Lambert anymore. Come on,
I'm being pedantic there. I mean, Farke has been one of the most successful managers in our lifetime, but I think it would be I don't like when I think people struggle to give criticism towards people, because they are then deemed to be seen as kind of not liking that man. I think we're all grown up enough to be able to criticize people and have enough nuance about an argument to highlight the good points as well. Daniel Farke's ability to improve players, I think, is one of the best in the Premier League and the Championship. He's clearly one of the best Championship managers of the last decade, not just Norwich City, but across the board. Daniel Farke is a very, very good head coach. But I think unless we start to look at weaknesses, not only with Daniel Farke, but also individual players and Stuart Webber and head, staff, that we're not going to be able to improve. And I think that's the position we're in now. Is we've praised Stuart Webber to the hilt. He's made mistakes. We've criticised it. We think we've got it right with recruitment now. Individual players get criticism, they bounce back. It feels like we're in a situation where you can't criticise Daniel Farke without then being deemed as Farke out. I think that's a really dangerous position to get in.
Well, let's open up that can of worms. What I would challenge.
Thanks to Jay, by the way. Thanks, Jay.
Cheers, Jay. Lovely. Is that a dog or a cat?
That's a dog.
Lovely dog. Sorry. One of the things that I do want to say is that we need to be careful that we're not scapegoating. And one of the things that we failed on big time last time in the Premier League was a lack of accountability and responsibility. I was like a broken record, Jack. It was always one person's fault or one person's mistake. But the whole reason why I'm so down about the Watford game is that I don't think you can say that's Daniel Farke's fault, or I don't think you can say, Kenny skied it up into the air, or Ozan Kabak missed, or I don't know. I just think collectively there were so many areas on the pitch that didn't pull together. In the Premier League, in the Championship, you can get away with saying, that's just a case of, I don't know, XYZ player giving it away, which resulted into the goal. Everything else was perfect. In the Premier League, everything's got to just work. And I think one of the things that I'm not comfortable with is pinning the blame on one single person. And I want people to hold me accountable.
I don't think we've done that, have we? I don't think we.
No, I don't think so. But I think that we as a collective unit, the fans, were on a very slippery slope. It's turned very quickly. I know the Watford game was dismal, but on reflection, some of the things that are being said about Daniel Farke, in my opinion, are downright disrespectful, considering what he's done for this football club. And we're only 5 games in. I know it's been a shit start. I'm not trying to gloss over it. But at the moment, as I've always said, you can polish a turd, but you can't polish diarrhea. Ipswich Town in League One, diarrhea. You can't polish that. But at the moment, we can polish our shit start to the Premier League by getting a result away against Everton if we play the right system with the right tactics and the players don't make individual mistakes. Those 3 things have to happen to try and get results as soon as possible.
When does it turn from scapegoating to just rightly criticising? Like, what's the tipping point?
Well, look, I want to talk about that whole criticism thing, Jack, because I think you've come under fire, and I think some of the things you've said, I've even said to you, before the game, I've gone, cool, blimey, Jack, that tweet was a bit full on. And you've gone, well, that's how I feel, mate. And I said, okay, that's not what I believe, but that's what you believe, and that's fair enough. And I respect your opinion and vice versa. And you've come under fire. To be honest with you, not just yourself, lots of people have, and what really saddens me is that we're only 5 games in, and there's quite a big fan divide already. I can see it coming, and I feel like I'm not over egging this.
Well, you could hear it at Carrow Road as well.
Let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong, but to me, it seems like there is now a vocal minority of people that don't want Daniel Farke at the helm anymore, and everyone is just arguing against each other, which is just the worst thing possible, being in the position that we're in. I do think, of course, Farke should take some responsibility for his press comments. We've gone over and over and over that, and hopefully he learns from that mistake to not start saying basically what the fans can and can't say. You can criticize. It's okay to constructively criticize, and of course, don't get personal, don't send abuse to players and all that stuff, of course. But I agree with your points, Jack. I think it's unfair for people that are purely only positive to start having a go at the people that are perceived as being negative when actually they are they're fairly constructively criticising, rightly so, because it's been a shit start.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I think that I was very unhappy with the way Daniel Farke handled the press, and I was, on the flip side, I thought I was delighted with how he came out today. He took responsibility.
Agreed.
I was really happy with the way that he was asked what did he think of the booing, and he said, I wanted to boo myself. Like, the fans had the right to do that. I don't boo, and I know you don't boo, Chris, and it's not something I'd want to do. I get why people did it. I think it was justified if that's the way in which you want to vocalize your dismay. The reason I was frustrated with Daniel Farke is it's fine to criticize fans for providing critique as long as you hold up your end of the promise there. And Daniel Farke's basically said, the fans come, you support, universally, and we will hopefully provide a performance that justifies that support and justifies the support of individual players. He reeled off the criticism of Timu Pukki and Lucas Roop, Grant Hanley, etc. The fans came and supported, but they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. The performance was lacking. I didn't see enough effort, I must admit. I didn't see enough pressing. I didn't see enough of the best of the basics. Yeah, and that comes through effort, I think.
I think the word effort, we need to be careful with that. And I'm lucky and blessed enough to talk to current pros and former pros. To say they don't put in the effort is not fair. But I agree, Jack, pressing is important. And I know that is effort, right?
Yeah.
But you've got to understand, for example, that Matthias Norman was doing the job of, in my opinion, two central defensive midfielders.
Yeah.
He's been run ragged on his debut for Norwich City.
No, that's fair. That's fair enough.
Jack, I just want to go to Daniel Farke's press comments today, because it's fair to do so. I agree with you. I loved what he said today. I was really
it's accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, but also I think he's probably under the magnifying glass, because of course the results haven't been going well, so he doesn't need to be careful with what he says. We make mistakes all the time in what we say. I don't know, maybe use too many swear words, or I get a fact or stat wrong. And so one of the things I do want to be careful of is saying, we're not pretending that we're the perfect people, and Daniel Farke can't ever make a mistake. He's made one there, but for me, his press comments today were excellent. The only thing that did challenge me, Jack, which I'm sure people will agree with in the comments, because I know that some people have said it on social media, but again, I think they've only said it because he's under the magnifying glass, so to speak, is that he has made comments about young players. And another opinion to maybe be contrast to that is Michael Bailey says, well, hang on a minute, Daniel. He's not said that, but he's tweeted it today. You've got experienced players on the bench.
Yeah.
So which way do you want it to be?
Yeah.
I don't think you can be in between. You've suffered, four big, I say big, you've suffered 4 defeats. You're at home to Watford. Be safe, be assured, play your most experienced team. And a player that's not getting a shout out, by the way, is Todd Cantwell. He's played a season in the Premier League. He's made the most tackles in that Norwich side, and yet he's not even getting a game at the moment. So the only thing I would disagree with today is maybe the excuse of the young players. And I feel for, and by the way, I feel for Brandon Williams today, because similarly to Daniel's comments about Lucas Roop, Brandon's almost been highlighted today as someone that was almost at fault, in my opinion. That's how I interpreted it. And I felt that was a little bit hard.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I've really liked what I've seen from Brandon Williams. But unfortunately for him, there has been, I think in every game he's played, a mistake that's led to a goal. If he plays to the same level he does in the Championship, he's probably the Championship's best defender. In the Premier League, you can do 89 minutes of brilliance, which on the whole he has done. Is one mistake which leads to a goal. I'm just going to quickly run through some super chats. Thank you so much to everyone who's dropped in a super chat. DXN, this is a brilliant comment. Statistics don't tell a story. Statistics are used to tell a story, often supporting a narrative of choice rather than defining the narrative itself.
Agreed.
That's spot on. And I think we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of that to an extent, myself included. Simon Dwyer. Hello, Simon. Hello. It looks like a new group of players to me that need the time.
Yeah.
I've never been Farke's greatest fan, but even I think he deserves more time. That's fair enough, Simon. I think you're spot on there. Chris Dayton. Hello, Chris. I said it on Saturday, boys. We were playing like we were top of the Championship, not bottom of the Premier League. No urgency, pressing, must do better. Simple as. Yeah, it's hard to disagree with any of them, Chris. Connor, finally, in the Premier League, we've got some fairly winnable, drawable games. How long do we give Daniel Farke to win some points? I think this is a fascinating one, Chris. In terms of give him time, I agree. Players need time to bed in. Daniel Farke needs time to get this group together. The one thing in the Premier League you don't have is time. You saw Sheffield United last season, right? 10 games without a win.
Yeah, I know.
You're down already at that point.
I want to disagree with you with every bone in my body. I want to say patience. I want to say that, but
that is the right thing. But you don't have the time.
But the thing is that we Norwich fans have experienced this only recently. We know what it's like. We know how important momentum is. I just want to actually just say, quickly, Jack, a comment before I go and talk about as soon as we're on stats around the Everton match coming up. I really, really want to highlight this from Cameron Hansel on YouTube. We'll talk about his suspect profile picture in a minute. Class profile picture, by the way. He says, Jack, let's not forget that midfield didn't help Brand now. This is an important point.
I'm not disagreeing with that, Cameron.
And this is an important point, that we are a collective unit. And at the moment, there hasn't been enough protection for Grant Hanley, Ben Gibson, Brandon Williams, Giannoulis, Max Aarons. These boys have been put under intense pressure, basically an onslaught of constant attacks, because we've not had Matthias Norman in position, and we've also not played a system in which is actually just trying to shut up shop for the first half. To be fair, we have done that a couple of times. Credit where credit's due. Arsenal and possibly Leicester as well, I think. Prove me wrong. Is that incorrect?
I think we conceded first half against Leicester.
Okay, fine.
Right, I get the point.
Anyway, you get my point. That's an important point, and I really, really like that comment. And now I want to share a stat, Jack. As soon as we're speaking about statistics,
go
on. We've got a fantastic TNC opposition preview coming out this week. By the way, Jack, what day is it coming out? We've not discussed this yet.
Thursday.
Thanks for letting me know, mate. I'm going to be recording it with an Everton fan from another channel, and one of the things that I've realised, which I think is actually maybe a little good sign, clutching on the straws, is the last time we went to Goodison away in the Premier League. Do you remember the game, Jack?
I do. We won.
Yeah, we won 2-0.
Icon scored.
And Todd Cantwell, right? But crucially, before that victory, we had just lost 7 games on the bounce.
Oh, wow.
7. So maybe Everton, maybe Goodison is happy hunting ground for the Canaries. Who knows? Put it this way, Jack. There certainly won't be the type of pressure that there has been, going to that Watford game away at Everton. Surely,
yeah.
That's maybe us. We've, I'm trying to put a stat in to get the mood up in here.
No, but, I like it.
Do you love that, Jack?
Well, the earlier brilliant comment that said statistics are used to kind of suit a narrative. You've pulled out a stat there which suits the positive narrative, and I like it. Matt Vitesse, hello, Matt. I feel like Farke doesn't have a plan B. Sometimes we need a change of formation and tactics to get through a game. Keep up the good work, lads.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Although, and I did want to speak about this actually, we're playing a different formation to what has been successful in the past with Daniel Farke. The Championship promotions have been predominantly based on a 4-2-3-1. Pookie at the top. Of course, we've had Oliver Skip in that before. We haven't got him this season. We're kind of going for like a 4-3-3 at the moment. Is it a 4-3? Something like that. And I don't think it's working. The midfield look exposed. We are continuously, that's a good point, actually. We are continually getting bombarded down the flanks, and we're not creating enough. With Liverpool coming up tomorrow night, Chris, in the cup. I think Klopp will field a fairly weak squad, quote unquote, compared to their usual 11. For me, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. For me, we go 4-2-3-1. We play pretty much the same side as we did against Watford. I would have loved to have seen Todd in there, but unfortunately, he's out for personal reasons. So hopefully, everything's good in the Cantwell household. Would you do that, or would you stick with the same formation? Because I know that you've been slightly frustrated with Gilmore, and you would like to see him a bit more advanced. I think it's that midfield friction for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely want to see Billy Gilmore more advanced, and perhaps Todd being out will enable us to do that. I think certainly in the Premier League we need to be playing with two central defensive midfielders. I personally think that either looks like Kenny or PLM literally next to Matthias Norman, in order to stop the onslaught and protect the defence. That's what Daniel Farke said that they've been working on, or will be working on this week in training. Going into that Liverpool, Jack, I'm going to be a rubbish pundit here. I don't have a bloody clue. I can't decide. I chop and change. And you know what? Daniel Farke is so much more qualified than me to call the shots and to make the right decision. I don't know, Jack, whether I would keep the same team to try and get them some confidence, because surely I know Liverpool's third team is, a real solid team that can cause any opposition problems. But at the same time, I almost don't want to put out those same lads, because what if they get beat in the cup by those boys? That would be even worse for confidence. So I think I'm leaning more towards making more changes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I still think I really want to see Zolis on the ball more. We've not given the ball in those advanced positions enough. I still think Milo Rashica needs time to adapt to the English game in terms of linking up with Teemu Pukki. I think that we could still be testing that Josh Sargent and Pukki partnership, but at the same time, you don't want to risk, or maybe you don't start Pukki because we don't want to just run Pukki into the ground like we did last time in the Premier League. I don't know.
Is this not a great opportunity to bed in like the two players who stand out because they haven't had much game time? Is that of Kabak and Matthias Norman? Is this not the perfect opportunity to bed them in?
I would play Matthias. I would definitely play Big Andy, and I would definitely play Kabak, because I think I agree with that. I think Big Andy absolutely deserves that game 100%.
That's my centre back pairing for Saturday, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I think I can't argue against it because of the results that we've had. But I don't know. And let us know in the comments, and there's already some people that have been getting their teams in. Let's start reading some out.
I want to get this in from Graham. Bring some perspective. We are 3 points from safety with 99 points left to play for. 4 other teams have not won a game and 2 have only won 1. There are better things to come.
I love that from you, Graham.
Yeah, I like that, Graham.
I really do.
If you would have told me that yesterday, I would have reacted really poorly. Today, I'm taking it in with love and gratitude. So thank you, Graham.
Yeah, I agree. Top man, Graham. We really needed that. Let's start going through people's teams. Elliot Pearson, first of all. He says, Angus Gunn and goal. Yeah, yes. Agreed. Mumba.
No.
Oh.
Not for me. I think Max... I think Max Aarons had his... I'm not going to say the worst, one of his worst performances in a Norwich shirt on Saturday. I think this is the perfect opportunity for Max to bounce back. And I think he's still getting used to the system and the players he's playing alongside.
I think he needs a rest.
No, I don't buy that, mate. He's young and he's fit. He doesn't need a rest. This is my thinking. Let me provide context. My thinking is Norwich City are on a horrendous run of form. What Norwich City need is a scenario where the pressure's off a little bit in front of a packed crowd. It's a sellout at Carrow Road against an opposition that's slightly weaker to what we're going to face in the Premier League. We need an opportunity to play as one. We had a hindered pre-season. Let's not make wholesale changes. Let's beat Liverpool. And I think we will. And a lot of people will be surprised with that. I think we'll win tomorrow night. And I think that sets up a perfect opportunity and a complete mindset shift going into 2 tough away games. I think you go against Liverpool with a relatively unchanged side. You beat them and you go to Goodison with your head held high. I think making changes, in my opinion, and this is very unlikely because I often want changes to be made in the cup game, I think that would be the worst possible thing to do.
What was the game after the Bournemouth game?
Mate, I'm trying to be positive.
No, I'm going to
game after Bournemouth. Was it Man City? Maybe.
No, it wasn't. Was it? I thought it was Leicester or Arsenal, wasn't it? Has my brain escaped me?
Let me have a look. Let me have a look.
I'm not sure it was. Anyway,
we lost it.
Well, yeah.
I can't remember.
Go back through the fixtures. Anyway, my point is, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if we do make wholesale changes. But what I would, and I love the fact that you're actually
It was Leicester.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So here's my point. We made plenty of changes going into that Bournemouth game. The lads looked rested, rejuvenated, and actually they gave a really good performance against Leicester. I know we didn't win, I know we didn't draw, but the performance had the right ingredients to go and beat Leicester. We need all the right ingredients, Jack. So actually, I've changed my mind. I've talked myself into it. I'm making a lot of changes going to this Liverpool game because I think that the lads are. I just think this is a squad effort this season. I really do. And I think that we need to get a lot of these players up to speed still, Jack. So I would be making changes.
Yeah, but this is my point, Chris. And I do get where you're coming from, I promise you. This is my point. We need to get players up to speed, but the players we need to get up to speed are the ones who were playing on Saturday. The likes of Kabak, the likes of Norman, the likes of Sargent. If you chuck him back, Ballymumba's not starting Saturday. What's the point of getting him up for Saturday when he's not going to play anyway?
Well, just to give Maxi a rest. Can I just?
He doesn't need a rest.
I don't know if this is trolling or a compliment. Can you explain to me what this means, Jack? Classic double-barreled reeve articulacy, entirely spiffing and pugilant.
I don't know. I follow Chris on Twitter, and he's very clever. So I suspect that Chris has picked up on something that I've maybe said wrong.
Or me? Oh, is it you or me?
Well, let's take collective criticism, or it could be a compliment. Chris, speak in Fleck high language, very basic, very simple, and we might be able to understand it. Thanks, Chris. Chris Dayton says, Chris is clutching Ari Everton point, but God, I love that from you. Live TNC therapy.
Yeah, you know. Oh, look, big up, by the way. Sorry, I was just going to say, we've just had a comment from Leon Mallet, absolute top man, and he's getting his team in. By the way, he's just started a YouTube channel. Go and check it out. I will be on there at some stage. Sorry, I've not been on already, Leon.
I will say just before you read this out,
go on.
That's my team as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
wow.
I just read it through. That's my team.
The Jack Reed blessing. There you go, Leon. He says Gunn, Aarons, Kabak, Big Andy, Williams, PLM, Norman, Gilmore, Zolis, Sargent, Rashica.
Yeah,
I like that. I'd be quite happy with that.
Hang on, let me look. The only thing I would possibly change is I would hang on. What's the formation? Is that 4-1?
How is Shianulis not getting in though? Brandon.
I mean that's if there were one player I would change, it would possibly be. I think Yanulis can feel the most hard done by out of the squad to be dropped. But for me, Leon, that's my team as well. And it would have been Cantwell in there if he hadn't have been ruled out in today's press conference.
There you go. What's next on the agenda, Jack? Come on.
I want to talk a bit more about just to finally cross off the Watford game.
Can't we just get over it?
No. I just wanted to pick up on one final thing, and it's a positive thing.
Whoa!
Josh Sargent,
are you all right? Are you feeling
Josh Sargent and Timu Pukki.
Yes, please.
Is that something we want to carry forwards?
Yes.
We like that, yeah?
It will surprise me if anyone in the comment section disagrees with that, because I thought Josh Sargent, I was very, very impressed with Josh Sargent. I was very, very impressed with him. And do you know what surprises me about Josh?
Oh, hang on quickly, Chris. Chris Sadler, it was a compliment. Love the Reeve. Chris, thank you so much. And Chris is a very good follow on Twitter, I must say.
Chris, we're just used to just getting passionate. You'll have to forgive us.
It's a sad state of affairs, Chris, when we get complimented and we think it's criticism.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Josh Sargent. I was singing his praises. What surprises me about Josh, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all. It actually just shows maybe the fact that I'm just not well researched in our new signing. Josh Sargent, he's physical. He's a physical lad.
Yeah, he is.
Do you know what absolutely really got me going, Jack? Really got me going was Josh Sargent in the air. Oh my God, he goes for everything in the air with full brute American force. And I love that. There was opportunities, Jack, where it wasn't on. He was never going to win the header, but it didn't matter. He was into the back of the player, left, right. He was just going for it, all guns blazing. And that was the passion that we needed. And the reason why I was frustrated, Jack, that we went off, and I know that you had a bit of a hammy, I get that. He was the man that was working the hardest. He was giving his all. He was trying his best. And he was our only real creative outlet towards Teemu Pukki. I'm so impressed with Josh. So impressed. What do you think of him, Jack?
Well, stay with me here because I think it might take some talking. But he is the hybrid of two of my favourite Norwich City strikers in my lifetime. And I'll tell you the two players.
Where are you going here?
Kai Kamara and Cameron Jerome.
Kai Kamara?
He is the hybrid of them two players. And let me talk you through it. He's got the pace and the agility of Cameron Jerome, and he has got the springiness, the ability to just bounce like a coiled spring of Kai Kamara. And that is the biggest compliment that I can give a striker.
Mate,
Kai Kamara was unbelievable.
In the air. He did score one header.
Yeah, exactly. He scored for Norwich in the air. You complimented his heading, and Cameron Jerome was a wonderful servant for Norwich City. It just his buzziness reminds me of him.
I'm not sure you've had
and I will add. I've been incredibly positive there, so I will add a slight bit of pessimism just to even things out.
You're all over the place at the moment.
No, this is spot on analysis. I don't think Josh Sargent is like an out-and-out finisher. When you look at Teemu Pukki, you're like, he's a finisher. I don't see Josh Sargent as that player, really. And
he's barely kicked the ball for us. How can you say that?
I'm just saying, on initial look, I think he's a different... And that's a compliment. I'm saying that he's a different player to Teemu Pukki, and they need that. It's yin and yang. It's the red wine to the fillet steak.
Oh,
it is a wonderful combination. And I think if you continue with that, I think you're on to good things. The only thing I didn't like with Josh Sargent, his interview after the game was incredibly dull.
You got me going with the red wine and fillet steak combo.
Who's the fillet steak and who's the red wine?
Do you know what? The first time we've seen Teemu Pukki really play like Teemu Pukki this season was with Josh. Because of the link-up play, the ones, the twos, the flicks, the way he was feeding the ball through to Teemu. And to be fair, of course, Norman with the assist, which we've not even spoken about. Matthias Norman, who I thought was absolutely brilliant. He was a very close second man of the match for me at the weekend, followed by Pukki in third position. By the way, I can't believe Ozan Kabak got the official man of the match.
Yeah, that was... Who gives...
It's in the box, isn't it? And
Ozan Kabak, much like Brandon Williams for me, like on large parts of the game, very good. And I thought you could tell he was a cut above. Like the way he reminded me slightly of, and I'm going to compare him to another player you're going to laugh at, a Virgil van Dijk type, where he has the ability to collect the ball and just drive, and it looks so effortless. And then he has moments where he looks like sort of Ignacy Mikel, and he's like just completely losing players. And I was like, if we can just sort of sand the edges of this little rough diamond, we're onto something here.
Mate, your analogies are all over the place tonight, but it's good. It's good to hear some positivity from you. Let's move on to the next.
And let me just. This is one of the worst comments I think I've ever seen. Simon Duarte, Aaron Wilbraham was better than Kamara. Can we put some respect on Kai Kamara's name?
Can we?
And this isn't a criticism of Aaron Wilbraham, another goal scorer in the Premier League, a brilliant goal at that. But Kai Kamara was a brilliant player.
Mate, facts don't care about feelings. Wilbrahamovic scored more. Look, I talked to Kai. He's a lovely guy, but Wilbrahamovic scored so many more goals. How can you say that?
He played a lot more games as well.
Oh, can Norwich just win a game so we can stop talking about this?
Mr. E, are you lads going to away games? If not, watch along to get the wins back. Also, wasn't there a pub crawl coming? Love the work. Pub crawl, yes. Be patient.
Norwich.
Are we going to away games? Some. Will there be watch-alongs? Possibly.
Mr. E, pub crawl. We need to wait until people don't want to kill us anymore. Watch-alongs. We have been criticised for not wearing our HMS Pistol League hats. Apparently, that was too happy clappy in the Championship, despite the fact that we got, what was it, 96, 97 points?
Yeah.
And what was the next point? Away games. I'd love to. The ticket system isn't exactly ideal, but we'll do everything that we can to go to away games this season. The watch-alongs are they're locked away forever as a treasure. We might do a few. You never know.
It would be like Norwich bringing Lambert back. It was great at the time. Now it feels a bit wrong.
Hey, don't say that, just in case. Right.
I tell you who is on the market: Chris Hughton.
Oh, mate,
he was good at shutting up shop.
Mate, our reputation has been dwindling lately. that we are in the toilet now.
Oh dear. What were we speaking about?
We both said oh dear at the same time there. I think you were about to move on to the next part of the agenda, but before you do, we haven't talked enough about Sorry. Oh, hello. Craigo with the stat.
Can we? Here we go. Can we? I think I know the answer to this, and I'm very impressed. Can you name the teams in which they scored? I think they had one Premier League goal each. I think.
Matthias Norman.
Wilbraham's was against Fulham. Kamara's was against Everton.
Mate,
I think that's right.
Right, Matthias Norman. What a player.
I thought we weren't getting carried away. Or are we getting carried away?
Yeah, no. Remember, Jack, this is the therapy session. We've done the grievance. We've got it out of our system. Okay. Now we're trying to build the confidence back up into the support base.
Right, I'll give. Let's do like they do feedback in middle school. I'll give 2 positives and 1 negative.
Okay, go on then.
Positive, sexual assist. Other positive, some brilliant tackling. Negative, completely lost his man for one of the goals.
Oh mate, yeah, but come on,
but that's a key component of his job, Chris. We can't just look over the negatives because he's got a nice haircut.
Mate, our shape was all over the shop, and there was
partly because of him.
The defenders were miles up the pitch, nowhere to be seen. Norman was stranded. He wouldn't have got there in time. I'm defending.
No, I'm not having that.
Just because Matthias. Look, do you know what I like? Do you know what I like about Matthias? He's got an element of calmness as well. I thought he was going to be just an out-and-out brute, but as well as a very, very good tackler of the ball, he's very, very calm, actually, and I like that about Matthias. And by the way, he can ping a ball, can't he? Very exciting player, but for me, I want someone along his side at the moment because I don't think he can do it all alone.
I think it's irresponsible to say that he wasn't at fault for one of the goals. I think it was a big part because of him.
I disagree.
Well, if you disagree and he continues to do that, we will continue to lose football games. and
oh, you've lost your internet, Jack, or your mic. You've got some technical issues at the moment. Here we go. You're back. Oh no, you're so not back. Jack's gone quiet. There you go. That's what happens when you talk so much shit, mate. We can't hear you, mate. Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah, you're good.
I was proving a brilliant point, but I was silent. All I'm saying is you can look over the Norman error, but if you do look over the Norman error and he continues to do that, we will continue to consider.
I am letting him off the hook in this one instance because is his first game, is his debut.
No, I know that, but
all over the shop by then, mate. No, I'm not. Like, I'm letting it go. I'm letting Matthias Norman go. Like, he was class in that game. You know, one mistake. I know it led to the goal, but we've got to forgive him and move on. I
think that's mental.
There's lots. Oh, fine. I think you're mental. You've started comparing. Oh, you're ridiculous. Some of your comments started being ridiculous. Anyway, let's not argue live on air. Let's keep that behind the scenes. There is a lot of people that are putting this name into the discussion, and I can't let you escape it, Jack. 1, 2, 3. I mean, the comments keep coming in.
You ask the question, and I'll provide an answer. I can't go off simply Lucas Roop. Like, what do you want to know?
Well, do you know what? I don't even want. You know what? I don't
ask me the question.
No, do you know what? Do you know what? I don't even want to open up that can of worms.
Let's do it.
No, I don't want to do it.
No, and I'll provide. Right, Kenny McLean at fault for one of the goals, criticised him. Matthias Norman at fault for one of the goals, criticised him. When Lucas Roop's made mistakes before, I've criticised him. It's just often happened that he's made more mistakes than others. I don't mind Lucas Roop. I really don't mind Lucas Roop. He's not a Premier League footballer. And some of the performances from some of our players this season have also not been Premier League worthy.
You're being too harsh towards Roop. You really are. I don't want to open it up again.
He's not a Premier League. It's not harsh. It's factual.
It's not factual.
It
Mate,
is.
It's your opinion. It's your opinion.
It's backed up with fact. We haven't won football matches with him in the side. He hasn't scored in the league. Mate. He has got 1 assist in the league.
Mate,
you said let's talk about him, so I want to talk about him.
Mate, we're turning into Arsenal fan TV here.
We're not.
Let's move on. What about this suggestion?
I mean, we've scored 2 goals all season, Craig. He would probably do better than what we've seen at the moment.
Oh, right. This is interesting. Let's talk about this. Let's open up this. This is my point, right? My point here is that I hate it when we lose. Do you know why I hate it when we lose, Jack? Because there is this horrible thing in the Norwich City fan base where it's so black and white. It's like you're either a happy clapper and you're in bed with the club, or you're negative and you're not a true fan. Like, come on, guys. There's space in between. By the way, thank you for the comment. I really appreciate it. Look, I agree with Jack Lotz. I also disagree with Jack Lotz. That's the healthy part of the game. And the disappointing thing for me, the very disappointing thing for me is when it turns into nastiness. And like, we don't need to bash each other. If I'm a happy clapper, yeah, all right, I'm a happy clapper, but I'm not. You know, I really don't think I am. I'm just positive.
And I think it's really important that we have critical discussion as well, because there's no point in just There's no point in just following people you agree with on Twitter, like not just in football, but in life in general. If you can't have these critical discussions, you can't move forward. There are elements of Chris's arguments that are spot on, and that there are some that are utterly baffling, and there are some arguments of me that are spot on and some that are wrong, and you just have to kind of wiggle your way through both of them and come out on top. At the end of the day, there's a reason why Daniel Farke is in the dugout and we're sat drinking lukewarm Budweiser in the Barclay. So choose who you want to listen to.
Big up to Mike, by the way, who sits next to us in the Barclay with his lovely son, who, by the way, was
loving it.
Well, he's being taught young. He's now he's sticking it to the away fans, and I love that from you, Mike. I really, really do. Look, I really, really don't want to. Look, I know everyone's saying, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, we've sold our best player with Emmy, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? Honestly, Mike, I love you loads, mate, but I'm bored of it. I actually really think that what we've got now going forwards is good enough. Rashica on one side, Zolis on the other, Pookie, who scored Premier League goals up top, Todd Cantwell, who scored goals in the Premier League time as that number 10. Oh, by the way, Billy Gilmore. Like, we've got the players. I just don't think we're implementing the right tactics going forwards. But most importantly, we're making some sloppy errors defending. So actually, for me, Mike, if we shut up shop, I really don't think we'll be talking about Emi Buendia.
And just a quick point on Emi. And I, look, you have to agree with Mike to a certain extent.
Yeah, of course.
Buendia, but to agree with you, Chris, like, we had Emi Buendia the last time we went down when we posted a pitiful amount of points on the board. So Emi Buendia, I don't think would have changed anything this season. I think one of the players that Mike mentioned there in Oliver Skipp would have done. And I think we may have a player in Matthias Norman who maybe is not on Skipp's levels, but can provide adequate kind of protection for the defence. But losing Oliver Skipp was huge for sure.
Can't you? But let's just move. Why are we still talking about Skipp and Emmy? Come on.
Because you have. I think you have to do that to provide. Chris, I'm trying to back your points up here. You've been positive. One of the reasons that's been out of our control. No, just listen to me. One of the reasons that has been out of our control with the poor performances have been losing our two best players. So if you don't talk about them, you're losing.
I just don't agree. I just don't agree.
Agree with what?
We've made sloppy errors at the back. That's nothing to do with going forwards.
But one of the reasons in why we've leaked goals is because we don't have a world-class midfielder in front of them that Oliver Skipp was. Yeah. I'm trying to back you up.
Yeah, but all right, thanks. I'm all over the place.
I agree with you. We should be looking forwards, but to ignore history is incredibly.
No, but we're just. I mean, come on, we can't seriously still be. I love Emmy to bits. He's a lovely man, but we can't still be talking about Emmy. Come on, we've signed the players, the recruitment. Weber has done his job. He's signed top tier talent in terms of our club's budget. Right, players that so many people. Would you ever have expected us to sign the quality that we've signed this season? You wouldn't have. The recruitment's been right. The tactics and shape and individual errors haven't been good. Like it's simple for me.
Chris, I'm very aware that with your media responsibilities, you need to get off soon. So we'll do another 5 minutes of chat, and then you can go and prepare your copious amounts of notes for the Michael Bailey podcast, which I'm sure people will be tuning into later. Just on Michael Bailey, actually, and I was really impressed with Michael's reporting over the weekend, because I think because it fitted your narrative. No. when you are a journalist and you have relationships with a football club, it's very easy to slightly step off the gas slightly when things are going wrong. Michael's reporting was spot on. I think the words of Daniel Farke today. Farke said he wanted to boo his own team. That reflects similar to what Michael Bailey was saying. Michael Bailey called the performance against Watford a disgrace. And I think when Michael Bailey, one of the most calm-headed, shrewd journalists out there, is calling the performance that, I think those that felt negative are warranted to do so. I just wanted to say that, because not just Michael, actually. I think all of the local journalists, whether it's EDP, Radio Norfolk, Athletic, whoever, I think they're very good at not kind of listening to the party line and saying what they feel. And I think that's incredibly important for a football club's news organizations. I just wanted to say that.
I think that it's only the first time that it's happened this season, not Michael Bailey. I think the reason why you've got so much stick is that you were one of the first people with a platform to actually, really criticize one player or the tactics or Daniel Farke. Michael Bailey's an absolute world-class journalist. We're so lucky to have him. But I do think there's been a lot of Twitter tap-ins from not journalists, but by so many people at the moment. So, yeah.
I might do this, not the watch-along highlights, Liam, that you've done, but I might, after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack open another Lakens, use my 20% off code in the description, and I'm going to watch the highlights back of Norwich beating Huddersfield 7-0 or 7-1?
7-0. Come on, we didn't concede that long.
I'm going to do that. And I'm going to watch the brilliance of Emmy Buendia and Oliver Skipp, and just think that was really Chris Reeve.
Are you not gonna watch the On the Ball pod with me, Michael Bailey, Steve Saunders? And
what time does that start? 8:00.
Yeah, 8:00 kickoff, mate.
I've got time for both of them.
Good. Next.
Are we going to beat Everton?
Well, I don't.
Oh, come on! If you've been Mr. Positive throughout, and then hit me with a sigh when the big question comes.
I just can't.
You can't fade now, Chris. You've been doing so well.
Okay, here's my thought process. In every single TNC opposition preview so far this season, I've backed us for the win. Every single one. And every single time it's been thrown in my face. So I'm going to go with some reverse psychology this time. And I'm going to say, just like I did last time we went to Goodison, really tough game. And I think we'll lose.
Okay. What about Liverpool?
Absolutely not a clue. I don't know what the result. I have no idea about how we're going to go into it, how it's going to work, what the tactics will be, what team Liverpool will turn up with, what the mood will be like inside Carrow Road. I've not a clue what to expect.
And that is exactly why you should tune in for that kind of expert insight here on TSE. Are you going?
We're not experts. That's the point, Jack. We're not experts. That's the thing. It really,
are you going?
Really is. No, I'm not going.
No, I'm not going. I'm going to go. We're going to beat Liverpool, and I strongly believe we're going to beat Liverpool. I'm really pumped about this one, actually.
You are.
And we are going to draw with Everton, and that will be the foundation to kick on. There you go. There's my positivity, and I think that's justified positivity as well.
Love it. Love it. Brilliant. Good. Nice to hear it from you.
Well, that's an hour. Thank you so much to it. That flew by. That was really cathartic. So thanks, Chris, for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to me as well. And thanks to everyone who's watched along and commented and left lovely super chats. You can follow us. I'm at Jack Reeve TNC. He's at Chris Revo. If you'd like to get some of Yarmouth's finest beer, and it is the world's best ale. I'm not just saying that. It has been voted the world's best ale. There's 20% off Laken's in the description below. We'll be back tomorrow for a review, and there'll be tons of content this week as we look to the big game on Saturday. It's Everton at Goodison Park. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stay safe. See you later. Bye-bye.